relationship to food, to the environment, to the farmer, to the worker, to our own bodies.
What would it take to change the American food system to make farming sustainable and improve public health and environmental quality?
What we're trying to do in sustainable agriculture is to use resources that are in the local ecology and recycle those resources within the system rather than taking resources from another system or another ecology and bring them in. And we should be using solar energy to fuel our systems as nature does rather than relying on imported petroleum or other resources.
A century ago, people bought locally produced food. Today, food in a supermarket has traveled an average of 1,500 miles. Apples were grown all over America. Now they are shipped from China. This uses more imported oil and increases our dependency on other countries for food. The food from this farm travels an average of 50 miles.
About 10 years ago, we started a program for Bay Area families where they can get a basket of our produce once a week. It's called Community Supported Agriculture. And our relationship with those families encouraged us to really diversify. And as a result, as you walk around this farm, you'll see that each field has many different things growing. There's fruits, nuts, citrus, there's grapes, as well as row crops like tomatoes and eggplant and corn.
We've been farming organically for about 25 years because it is a system of farming where you are thinking about the human relationship to agriculture. You're thinking about primarily producing good food, food that you have no doubt about what character and quality it has, food that's healthy, that you have no doubt that my kids can eat. And so we've looked to evolve ourselves in a system that is diverse and healthy and sustainable. We have to respect nature's logic in all of this. We have to respect the millenniums of history that have gone into breeding. This is the work of thousands of generations of people who have plucked the wild onion, developed a little bigger one, chosen that over time. And it's not something anyone can say they own.
In 1990, the U.S. government attempted to describe organic standards. After years of formulating the regulation, in 1997, it was revealed that the standards would allow irradiation, sewage sludge, and genetically modified organisms. The government received one of the largest consumer protests in history. 275,000 citizens wrote to the USDA, outraged by this, and demanded that organic standards be kept pure. The consumers prevailed.
The underpinnings of my conversion to organics are not so much the economic point, it's the health point. To protect my health, protect my family's health, and my neighbors. Because if I'm the steward of my own land, that also means I'm responsible for what's happening outside of my little parameters, my fence line. Our Saskatchewan Organic Directorate has taken this position that organic farming is a real alternative to the farm crisis.
There has been a revolution in genetic engineering, but there has also been a counter-revolution. People are returning to buying fresh produce grown by local farmers. Organic farming, farmers markets, and community-supported agriculture are only 3 of the many alternatives to the industrialized food model. South Dakota and Nebraska, along with 8 other states, have passed constitutional amendments or state legislation that ban non-family-owned farming.
When the corporation said Nebraskans don't have the authority to ban we corporate persons from owning farmland, the Nebraska Supreme Court said the Nebraskans can put whatever they want in their constitution. This is their fundamental right. It's the essence of the American democratic system.
The consumer is still king. And the problem is that consumers can't act unless they have adequate information. So one of the things that we can all do is to get as much information as we can, to get that information into the hands of the public, into the hands of consumers, so that consumers can continue to exercise their choice.
Because the food system is fluid, it can change quickly based on the opinions of the public. But if genetically modified food is not labeled, how are consumers able to exercise their rights? The choices we make at the supermarket determine the future of food.
Food is one of the most intimate things we do. And if we don't have any choices about that, I think that's a very troubling scenario.
There are large groups of people in other countries that have never bought into the American model of chemical-intensive, large-scale agriculture, and they certainly have not bought into the notion that the efficiencies that one gains by having 2 airline manufacturers in the world, or 4 automakers, or 2 makers of software, they believe that whatever gains you might make in efficiency are lost because you lose diversity. Whether there's going to be any serious change or challenge to the bulk of the way that agricultural land gets managed and farm businesses are organized, I think that's an open question, and frankly, I don't think it will happen unless the American public and farmers themselves sort of stand up and say, wait a minute, we just don't want to go any further down this road. And, we are a government of the people, for the people, and by the people, and hey, we're the people, we don't want to go there.
It's up to you.